Kinslinger.
Here.
Jerza.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Osterloo.
Here.
Penny.
Here.
Schmitz. Sonny.
Here.
Gosher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The packet of information has been provided to us. Is there anyone that has any conflict of anything that's on the proposed agenda? Hearing none, let's move on to the proposed agenda. Any additions or corrections, Mark?
Nope.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark, it's your turn.
Kinslinger.
Yep.
Jerza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Sonny.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
For those of you who may be watching or listening to us on media, because we have a couple of our members today that are appearing telephonically, we will have to have a roll call vote for all of the motions that are made. The minutes of the previous meeting have been provided in the information that has been provided to us. Do I hear any additions or corrections?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded that the minutes be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark, your turn.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Sonny.
Yes.
Kinslinger.
Yes.
Jerza.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried. John is here at 12:02.
All right, next item on the agenda, the motion carries, by the way. The next item on the agenda is to schedule the next meeting for the 27th of March at 12 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Do I hear a motion?
Set the date. Second.
Moved and seconded that the date be set. Discussion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark, your turn.
Sonny.
Yes.
Schmitz.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Jerza.
Yes.
Kinslinger.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a variance. Jay Schurz has applied for a variance permit for a combination of attached and detached accessory building of 2,704 square feet versus 2,000 square feet to build a new detached accessory building of 1,920 square feet located at 1800 Charles Avenue, legally described as lots 8 and 9 of Block 5 of the Woods First Edition, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is zoned high-density residential district. And if I remember right, that's probably about across the road from a piece of the ground that is not in the city limits. Is that?
The land right across the street is still in city limits. It's their backyards that are.
Ah, okay. Couldn't remember just how that went.
Yep. Notices were sent out to neighbors. There's one that was in your packet that was approved. I received two more that were approval. There were no comments on them, so I didn't print it off for you. The applicant would like to build a detached garage. I do have plans for it. It's going to be a two-door garage here. He did say that the siding will match his house. It won't be metal siding. It'll be the same thing as what his house will be. As you can see from your GIS, there is one that's directly across the street from this location already. They've combined the lots to make it into the one parcel, and that's how they get over the 2,000. You can't have the accessory without having the primary, so they have to combine the lots.
Questions? Owner here?
Question, are there two? I mean, is he requesting two variances?
No, it's one variance. We just classified these as the attached existing and any new as one total square footage.
Gotcha.
So the total you're allowed is 2,000. He's building 1920, which puts you to the total of the 27,000. So the variance is really for 7,000 square feet, but his garage is almost 2,000 square feet that he's building, or the new garage is.
And that's not uncommon in that particular area, as you can see by the picture. What's your pleasure, folks?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, the variance request be approved. Recommend approval to the council. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All right, Mark?
Genslinger,
Yep.
Jurza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Schmitz,
Yes.
Sonny,
Yes.
Larson,
Yep.
motion carried.
Next item, recommendation on road vacation. TK Klingeman LLC and Jeffrey and Denise DeFabio have petitioned to vacate right-of-ways in areas of the 1900 and 2000 blocks of West 8th Avenue. This is out in the subdivision that is just west of the west side of Mitchell, called Home Park Addition. It's never been annexed into the city, and it's been there a long time. It's a kind of a rural area, if you are familiar with it.
Yep, that's correct. The last street that we have going west that is actually being used as a right-of-way is Blair Street. This would be the next one over. Like Jay said, it's in the ETJ, so this will go in front of county and city. And this board, we have always put vacations in front of the board. It does not, by codified law, have to come in front of this board, but we always do a recommendation for or against from the board, because you guys are more of the planning for the future than what council might be. So there's two different requests for vacation with this. The north-south street between 8th and 7th, which has never been used as a right-of-way, and then the alley on the 1900 block is being requested to be vacated as well. There's many trees in both locations. They did provide some pictures from each direction. So this would be from 8th Avenue looking south to where the road is supposed to be at. And then this is from Blair Street looking west to where the alley would be at. The applicant, it's two different applicants. One applicant owns the whole block of 1900 in this area, and the other one owns all of this. So there is technically still a right-of-way that goes through on the south side. So this parcel, which is still owned by the same person, is still not landlocked at all, because there is right-of-way for them to get there, even though they're going through their existing parcel to get there.
And I would guess that because the right-of-way is going to have to go to the DeFazios, they probably own that whole block on the
Yep.
other side.
Yep, they own the whole block on this side, so the way vacations work is all abutting landowners have to approve or petition for it. The Favros would get the west half, Klingemans would get the east half, and then Klingemans for the alley. It would technically split between the lots to go to the north and go to the south, even though they own all of it. But legal descriptions would be then, this is blocks, or lot 1 through 6, and the north half of vacated alley. That's how that would go with for the future of that.
Questions?
I'm assuming there aren't any city utilities in that right of way?
No, there's no city utilities or county utilities that have been put in there. If there are any easements, the easements don't go away, they stay with that right of way. But I don't even believe there's any easements in any of this out there.
Property owner,
Any questions?
you got any comments?
The parcel between my neighbor and ourselves, I mean, the trees are falling down old, there's noxious weeds in there. Basically, between him and us, we want to clean everything up. I mean, clean it up, get the get the noxious weeds out, get all the dead trees out. And as far as the alley, it's a lower area. Basically, there's no ditch there, so it, the water drains into the back of our property through there, so.
And I take it, you identify yourself, please.
Oh, I'm Cleve Klingeman,
Okay.
sorry. And then I believe to the east of that alley, I don't know if there's an alley on the next block, but I think there's storage units over there, so I don't ever see alley. And then to the west of me, there's housing, so I don't ever see the alley being made an alley, so.
Any questions?
So this is basically a platted street and alley?
It is a platted street and alley, and if you look at your early home park plat that was provided to us, she was all divided up into 50-footers, and
Well, I have getting to our comprehension plan, I know when I guess I can't remember your name. Eric, you showed us on there that to the west there, along there, they want to develop, for future. Is that correct? I mean, there's a place in your maps on there that it shows that west of the elevator and in that area, the growth of Mitchell is good, hopefully go that way. Well, if we start vacating things like this and that, that's going to do a little hindrance in that. So I'm looking at the comprehensive or the future. So to me, I'm not in favor of it, but I still like to see the streets go, because if that's going to get developed later on, it's just another dead end here and there.
Our comprehensive plan, it's not set in stone for
No.
what will happen in that area. We do show growth throughout to 2030, 2040. That's where we would look to see low-density residential move into that area, more on the north side than on the south side of 8th. There could still be some development down on the south side of 8th for sure. There's two ways you can look at this. Since it is requesting two different vacations, if you're going to approve one or not the other, or vice versa, you can do it in two separate motions instead of one motion, so that way you could recommend the street not be vacated, but the alley be vacated. You could put it in one motion, but it'd be cleaner if it was two separate motions.
I guess I wouldn't have a problem with the alley being vacated, but I still would like to see the street still be in there for the future.
Question, if the parcels are owned by two individuals, what's the likelihood that a street would be put in there even if there was development?
It would have to get annexed into the city before the city would be able to assess it to the landowners for them to develop it. At being still in the county, the likelihood being very, very, very minimal that would ever be developed.
Question, I've lived here for 53 years. That looks the same as it did when I was a little kid over there. I highly doubt that road is ever going to get put in, even 50 years from now. There's huge trees in there, they're dead. There's noxious weeds. I mean, is the city going to come in and take care of those then? Are you going to control the noxious weeds in there? I mean, whose job is that?
well, right now it's the county's.
Yeah, well, somebody needs to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it really hindrances any future development. I mean, 7th Street would be wide open. The street, that everything faces to the east is wide open. I don't think it hindrances anything.
Mark, can you go to the Zoom version there? There you go.
Half of it floods.
There is a lot of floodplain south of 8th. There's a big draw that comes right up through here and over through here, and there's a lot of 100-year floodplain. There isn't any on this portion of his, but we do know that there's low-lying areas and there are drainage issues in there.
If you would go to the next map down, I mean, you can see all the black.
Yeah.
in there. I mean, that was 2 years ago when we got all the rain. That was all flooded.
How much,
Every
of,
bit and piece of it.
how much of the flooding issue could be alleviated by development and utilities
Street.
being put in place?
Exactly. Well, in my opinion, this original plat shows that it was drafted in 1909. Not much has happened out there since 1909. And we're talking two separate landowners here that are going to own a whole block by themselves, or that do own a whole block by themselves. Maybe there's a better shot of something developing out there on that whole block as a single development type of, I don't know, ranchette or whatever you want to call it.
I mean,
That's my opinion. I don't know.
I mean, if I'd speak again, why not let people fix things up and make things look better instead of making things look junky around town? You know, why not let us do it?
So it takes us to vacate it for you to do that, is that what you're saying?
I'm not
You
gonna
live
do
right,
it. I don't live there, I own the property, but I'm not gonna go onto the county property and spend my money, for me to do that. That's the county's job. Or
Well-
whoever decides that this shouldn't be done. I mean, I shouldn't have to go over and spray a Canadian thistle that's encroaching on my property. I do, you know, over the fence, but some
I know
have a whole bunch, but it's there.
This is in the county, but from a city standpoint, I disagree. Citizens are required to upkeep weeds and trees within the right-of-way that they're adjoining to. Just a side comment. That's a city stance.
Yeah,
not a
that's
county
city
stance.
ordinance,
Yep.
right?
well, that's just like,
Correct.
we take care of the boulevard, I mean, that's not our, but we take care of the boulevard because we want to keep it nice. I mean, I don't feel like you need to vacate this because you want to take care of weeds and that.
Well, I mean, we just want to clean it up, so. I
Well, you
mean,
said
there's a
clean
fence,
it up.
there's a fence on his side and a fence on my side. I mean, honestly, why are you so against this? I mean, what's the real reason?
What's the real reason?
Yeah.
We're on here to look for the future and for,
There's, it's,
yeah, it might be that way for a long time, but who knows what's going to happen in
been
20
that-
years?
it's-
Once you vacate it,
go,
then you're done.
go out there and drive around. It's
I've
been
been
that
out
way for
there and,
100 years.
Well,
Well, 100 years. And it's not going to change in another 100 years, so no matter what anybody here says, it's going to be like that.
I'll make a single motion to approve both.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
well, we have to second it to make it, to vote on it, because if we don't, is that correct?
It dies
make it for
it
the-
dies for lack of second, and we have to go on to something else.
Someone else could make a different motion if it dies for a lack of second.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Do I hear a second? 3 times requested. Chair calls it dead for lack of second. Do I hear a new motion?
I'll make a motion
This
to,
is Jerza. I make a motion to vacate the alley but not the street.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion has been made to vacate the alley and not the street.
Need a second.
Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Mark, it's your turn.
Genslinger,
yes.
Jerza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Sonny,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Like I said, this is just a recommendation.
This is recommendation
so
to this,
council has
to
the
the
final say.
council to vacate the alley.
Yep.
Now, we still have to look at the vacation of the street, whatever the name of it
No,
is.
we just did all that, Jay.
Yeah.
What's that?
We just did all that.
We just did all of that?
Yep.
Okay.
We're on to the comp plan.
Thank you.
All right. We are ready now at this point to talk about the public hearing for the recommendation to the city council for a resolution to adopt the City of Mitchell / Davidson County Comprehensive Plan. And after, I've been around this stuff since 1980, so we're talking 40-some years. It's about time that the city and the county looked at the comprehensive plan together, in my opinion. So let's take a look at it. We've had some information on it before, and we're going to get some more today.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit.
History is, the last time the city did one was 1995, the county did one in 99. Back in 17, funds were made available, or approved, 17 or 18 funds were approved, 19 is when it got kicked off. It is the first one in the state for doing city and county jointly. Most is just the county or just the state, not separate. And we've also included Ethan and Mount Vernon in this as well, so if you look through it, they had some chapters in there as well. A lot of it's history of everything, and then it kind of breaks it out per chapter as a general for the whole county, with broken out for Ethan, Mount Vernon, Mitchell, and then, like I said, each town has their own separate chapter in there. But Eric can give you some more information.
And from the chair, it makes a lot more sense to me, because I've been around this a long time. Mitchell, the city of Mitchell and the smaller communities within this county and the county all need to be talking on the same terms, in my opinion. So,
Yes.
enough editorializing from the chair. Let's go.
So I think there's not a whole lot of more information that I can add, to this discussion. Being, this is a public hearing, so basically this is kind of an official action by the Planning Commission. You'll adopt a resolution here at the end to officially recommend to the City Council that the comprehensive plan for Davidson County, Mitchell, and the towns be approved. And then they will take it up at their public hearing in April. We set a date exactly yet, or?
No, we did not set the date for that, just because we wanted this board to, if there were going to be any major changes or anything, that we had time to do that. And I talked with the county. She hasn't sent the notice out for publication for county commission, just because theirs is getting heard tomorrow. And there's plenty of time for publishing if it is going to be the first weekend in April. But
yes,
no, nothing has been published for that.
Okay, all right. But that would be the logical next step, is to get this in front of the city commission and the county commissions then soon after our public hearing. So actually, Davidson County Planning Commission is going to have their public hearing tomorrow and do the same recommendation. I remember last time I was here, I talked a little bit about the design of the land use in the county and the city. And one thing I forgot to mention or bring up, I thought was kind of an interesting idea, is the idea of what's going on down here by Avera Grasslands, down by the Cabela's campus and so forth, plus MTI and Dakota Wesleyan. There's been some interesting things going on down there, and so I developed again, it's kind of like a design characteristic, if you want to call it maybe like a neighborhood characteristic, that is that maybe the development of a innovation district or some kind of hospital-oriented development, that the investment that's been made down there in Grasslands, can that spill over into other things, offices, services, retail, those kind of things, or housing too. Is there a connection or a nexus that could be made between Avera and Dakota Wesleyan and MTI? So could that whole area down there become kind of a significant district with its own characteristics? So I thought that was kind of interesting there. Hopefully, this will be a change in terms of the comp plan that you may have seen before. Not that the ones before were not done well. I think you probably see they were done to meet the letter of the law in order to enact zoning, zoning regulations. So this one here, we wanted to kind of take a step back and really look at the, the function of all types of land uses and the design and layout of our communities and the county. So there's a little more, this comp plan is a little more graphically oriented. So, there's a lot more maps involved, with this plan, which hopefully will produce a better discussion, and a more, I guess transparent is kind of a popular word now. A more transparent public service. So that kind of, this translates into what we have here in the future land use map. And since this is just a comprehensive plan, it's not an ordinance, this is not set in stone, but it's supposed to be a good guide or a good estimate of what we want to see in the future. It's actually, and so to kind of address your concerns, with this vacation, of a street and alley, impact the comprehensive plan, it may not, I'll try to speak objectively here, but, it may not, I would say maybe the more important right-of-ways would be maybe the east-west streets out there, that's platted. Getting people to go towards, the arterial streets closer to town. But definitely the real development is probably going to be taking off west of the elevators, as far as being the potential for development plus soil, ground conditions, those kind of things. Those are going to be more appropriate for development. Jay asked about talking with Hanson County before the meeting, and we should be relatively safe from any kind of conflict or contentious issues with the two counties. However, if you would like, I'd be happy to make a briefing to the county commission over there about what you're doing here in Davison County. Even just the fact of this big green conservation area with the James River, it's almost like an insurance policy for them and you, as far as having kind of any development encroaching on each other in the counties.
Well, I just mentioned that because there is quite a bit of development over there on the other side of the river. And I really believe Hanson County needs to know what we're up to here. And a cursory review of what's going on might enlighten them. I don't know where they're at with the comprehensive plan in that county, but maybe they should be looking at revising theirs too.
I actually worked on their plan back in '99, so it was right about the same time as Davison, and it was again, more one of those meet the letter of the law, type of things, just to get their zoning on the books. So yeah, it might be nice to do a more community planning, design oriented plan. So yeah, if you guys are okay with that, I could sure brief them on what's going on. I guess one last thing too is an issue from the county side. They do want to investigate the idea of the ETJ. And so all I wanted to say here is, again, trying to be as objective as possible, that, we can't omit that idea from the comp plan. You think, we should let that thing play out, and let that discussion play out. So we can't not have that discussion. That's going to be probably a piece that's going to help implement the ideas of the comp plan. Whether they, whether they get it, whether they do it or not, it's up to the city and the county. But that discussion needs to happen.
Yeah, the county has it on theirs that they would like the ETJ to go away. The city would like to expand the ETJ. Neither one is right or wrong. Each one can have their own opinion. Each opinions are in this comp plan, so that it both states objectively each way. Now, that'll be discussions that'll be had for the next couple of years as to which way it goes. But it's just taking all the census information that we've gotten putting it into this plan that shows if we project to grow by this much, we need to keep expanding the city of Mitchell. If we want the city of Mitchell to grow, where's the business gonna go? Where's the residential gonna go? The industrial, education? Do we need more schools? Do we not need more schools? Just all of that gets put onto this one plan, which it's not, like you said in Bible, it can be changed. And it will change because if you look at when we did it last time, when you look at the way the county was zoned, their corridors for ag res, it doesn't follow their ag res. They thought that the city would grow to the north, and it hasn't grown to the north. All their ag res is to the south and a little bit to the west there. So it's just where we think we're at right now, where we think that will go. Whether we go that place or not, I don't know. But it's a plan. It's a starting spot for us.
That kind of leads into my question is, do you see this as more of a forecasting tool or a planning tool?
The land use map?
Yeah, what you're showing here.
Yeah, it's, it's an informative forecasting tool.
Yeah.
How about that? That's
So,
that's
so,
a quick way.
so then my follow-up question is, well, how do you put that into a format that we can then refer to when we're approving or not approving future uses and applications? Because what people will come in with won't necessarily align 100% with this.
And it never do.
And we need a guideline that says, okay, well, this is why we're not approving it, because we think this is more accurate, that type of thing. We need some backbone.
So in that land use chapter, and I think a little bit in the Mitchell, but it's more in the land use chapter as a whole, there are some guidelines to future development, which, again, yeah, you look at this, and this should be your first stop on that train, or that this should be a guideline of, all right, yeah, if you've got let's say you've got a proposal for a dollar store at the intersection there of 407th and, is that 8th or 15th over there? That, okay, maybe it's, you want to see, yeah, does that align with our plan and the guidelines, is it
Right.
gonna-
I'd like to see this map become part of our packet when we get an application that says, yeah, it's alignment or it's not alignment.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
That goes out further than what our zoning is right now.
Yeah.
Because yes, this is what you go back to for any future development.
Right, and if this isn't accessible to us, or it's in a place where it's difficult to get to, we'll never refer to it again.
Yeah,
Sure.
I like to hear that, because the saddest thing is for a comp plan to just sit on the shelf.
That's my concern.
Well, and not that we want to try to emulate Sioux Falls and everything, but I will just tell you a story that when I was an intern at the city of Sioux Falls and doing kind of the current planning type activities like Mark is doing, if a conditional use permit was coming in for whatever, a daycare or a car dealership, the first thing is we had to include what does the comprehensive plan say, and if it was against or if it didn't chime with or jive with the comp plan. Someone's got to make some changes, whether it's, going through and revising the comp plan or the developer or the applicant would have to look elsewhere.
Or the city approves it knowing that it's not going to fit the comp plan.
Guys, when I first started working in this field, many, many years ago, it was explained to me that comprehensive plan is like a preliminary blueprint when you're building a house. And it's subject to change as you go along, but you want to have the concept of
You need
what's
some guiding
happening.
principles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I, sitting in this chair, I've tried to do that over the years. I don't know if it's been successful or not, but I think I've led, and we probably, not to belittle some of the previous planning commissions we have, but I think we've got a better planning commission sitting here for future growth than I've ever sat on before. We've got more people here that are more concerned with information like you were talking about today than I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
Yep.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate what you're thinking is.
And that's a perfect example, like, the proposal for the vacation that, you bring up, where does our comp plan sit? And we can have that discussion. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, hindsight 2020, we should have flipped these two agenda items around maybe so we could.
Yeah.
You could sit there and listen.
We thought maybe there'd be a lot more people here
Yeah.
that would want to speak about this, so that's why.
Yeah, but you guys, you gotta suffer through the city council.
Yeah.
Joe too?
But no, I'm seriously, I think we're on the right track here, looking at it as a county and a city. And I don't know if you guys are going to have the discussion with Mount Vernon and Ethan as well, but it should happen.
Yep. And we had meetings with the town boards in both communities last fall, and they're on board. So I think, you know, it'll be, and we can probably come back to, I'm not sure that they would require like an official hearing process, because as of right now, they don't have the staff capacity to engage in planning, where maybe, you know, that's where the county or the city can come in and maybe do some work for them or with them. But it might be nice to have a resolution from their councils that, yes, they are, because we didn't do anything like that officially last fall for them to say, yes, we like this and let's go forward.
And it's really good timing right now with us for our utilities. I mean, utility rates have been talked about in the projects that we're doing. All of that information went into this. We're on the back end of doing the Mitchell Area Transportation Plan. That's about to be wrapped up. All that information went into this as to, you know, what roads will we need in the future going out to the west side of town for the developments of residential or commercial or anything like that. So timing wise, it's been working out great, except for COVID. Then we got kind of behind with this.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point Mark brings up is we're looking forward to that transportation plan, you know, coming out, you know, finalized. That and I've got a very, very rough version of one in the plan here, showing the kind of the major street plan, you know, or what things could look like in the future. Well, if that transportation plan comes out and has some different ideas about, you know, future roadways, arterials, those kind of things, we would maybe want to come back and it would be a simple process of just maybe amending the comp plan, taking out, you know, say my maps and putting in the city's maps, you know, and just say this is what we want to have as the future street plan. So that, you know, we're not having to go back to square one.
Other questions or comments here?
And I apologize. I love talking about planning, and I know you were on track for a wonderful, quick meeting here. So I don't want to delay you guys any further.
Well, I guess what we want to make sure is that we're understanding, and we've had copies of this. It is like bedtime reading, chapter by chapter.
Yes. Well, I always say never operate heavy machinery after reading any chapters of this plan.
Any other questions or comments for these gentlemen? Mark, thank you.
And just to let you know, so, you know, we talked a little bit about content last time I was here. And so, you know, those changes are going to be made right now, going forward. There shouldn't be anything more than just little grammatical changes or format type of issues. So there's no content will be added or subtracted from the plan going forward.
Guys got questions?
What do you need from us today, Mark?
I would say your motion would be to approve a resolution to recommend the City of Mitchell-Dixon County Comp Plan to council.
Yep, yeah, they have a,
Yep, we've got a copy of it in the back of our packet of information.
all right.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we recommend to the city council adoption of this plan. Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Mark, it's your turn.
Genslinger,
Yes.
Scherza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yeah.
Sonny,
Yes.
Larson.
Yep,
Motion carried.
thank you.
I was going to ask, what would be the smallest font you guys would want to read? Because that might, if we get it smaller, that would be nice to chop down the pages a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know, with the graphs and
That's
everything.
the lawyer, he likes to read that fine print.
He's got a magnifying glass.
As long as it's digital, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go, yep.
You know, with all the graphs and stuff that's in here, I don't think you want to change the font. I really don't.
Yeah, it's pretty,
I've been through this thing, and I started through it the other day again, the second time, and didn't get done. But it's something that is pretty important to me. I've been involved in this thing long enough that I understand the importance of it, and I hope you all do too. And like I say, guys, you guys that are with us today are probably the most interested in what we're doing long range, all of you, not just one or two like we've had before. And that's the way it is. Sometimes you don't have the people that have a long range vision, and that's okay too. But I'm just saying I really appreciate what you're doing with me and Mark here. It's time for public input. If you need to address the board on any item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. Seeing no one coming to the podium, we are adjourned.